Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to our conversation in the year 2023. I can't believe it. It's almost 4 years we have this conversation and this opportunity for artists and for me, myself as well, to share our work and word and life and artwork together. Our first artist of 2023 and now a member, it's Elena Zelenina, if I pronounce your last name,
Yes.
Elena, apologies.
Yes.
Welcome to our conversation and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much. I am very excited and very honored. Very honored and excited to be here with you.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you. Your
2023 is going to be great.
I'm sure. I'm sure it's going to be great. I mean, it's such a nice start, right? Talking to you in particular, your art of healing and beautiful artwork and this amazing opportunity. I'm sure it's going to be a great work and great year for all of us. Elena, let's just start a conversation by you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became an artist.
Well, I was born in a family of two Russian artists. They were, funny enough, were married to two sisters, both scientists. And they were very different in their perception of life and how they did things. So my uncle was a very, very free spirit person and in the flow all the time. So my aunt was the one who was supporting him in his art, and she was buying brushes and paint so he can create whatever he wanted. And my stepfather and my godfather was complete opposite. He was the solid foundation for everyone, incredible integrity, incredible craftsmanship, incredible respect towards life, nature, God, which was not a common conversation in Russia at that time. But every landscape he had with chalk, God bless.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So that was, I was not planning to be an artist. I was in the studio painting, but my mom did not think that it's a right career for a woman. And she wanted something more predictable and something simple. She always said, well, she likes to read, so she should be a teacher. And I did not really want it to be a teacher, but it's like, okay, whatever. And that's very humble beginnings. But when life challenges started, and I found myself here in New York, art became the healing tool, the new being able to adapt to new environment, because it's very similar energy with this blank canvas. Like when you go through this unknown, unless you have like the whole thing in your mind, but I do paintings that I don't, and it's pure unknown. So they help kind of psychology to adapt to that state. And then after that, my daughter's story, she was diagnosed with a learning disability, and I happened to have at the time 2 master's degrees, one from education, as mom wanted, and another one from alternative medicine. It was herbs healing. And so when my daughter Alice, she was 3.5, they told me that, she has a learning disability so severe, like lowest 10 percentile, and nothing you can do. She cannot be in the music programs. Like whatever I was listening, I was like, it doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So that solid, very solid master education and solid art background, I was like, I have to do something. So I started coming up with art practices for her to rewire the literally building new neural connections, but with the help of art. And then
Yes.
traveled, yoga came, we spent so much time in India, and all of it got completely compensated. It was 4.0 GPO, Dean's List.
Wow.
She can write music. She's a phenomenal writer and discovering herself. So she kind of became a gifted child with this very humbled background,
Yeah.
humble beginning.
By
But
help of you and art, art
um,
heals everything almost.
it's just not not willing as a mom. Like I wanted my child. I have a son who is 12 years older, and he was the opposite, right? The grades, and he's 99 percentile, and it's whole different experience as a mom. Not saying it was easier, because it's a boy,
Yeah.
but with her it was like, I'm not giving up.
Yeah. So that's
So
how you pushed into creating completely, and how it changed your lifestyle and your art completely.
everything. And
Yeah.
even right now, like I am exhibiting and internationally, but it's also because of her, because at some point when she was beautifully successful and I was excited, she said, "Oh, mom, but you really only exhibit locally. Well, you should. Your art is beautiful." And I said, "Oh,
She
really?"
encouraged you.
Yeah, she
Oh,
said, "I
okay.
would be so proud." And I said, "Well, okay."
That's very interesting to know that. And I said, like, you talk about science and family of science. And I was reading actually in your website, I was doing my own homework about you. And I noticed you mentioned about Nicholas Rodrich, if I pronounce his name correctly, he's one of my favorite. And he talk about this piece, which is the piece create of combination between science, art, and history, and which is you. I think that's what you're doing. You kind of have the science and the art background, and you combine it and mixture of those history and identity with that as well, and it create this beautiful, this scenery, which is so peaceful in a sense. And I know most of your work, I divided actually for myself into several sections. One, I call it the art of healing, which is you concentrate your life and art mostly on healing. Would you explain how your art create this sense of healing? What you do to create healing in your
Mm.
art?
It's actually, thank you so much for that question, because I have a process, and it is connected to uh, a lot of mantras and sounds.
Okay.
In special space, I would call it unclutched space. And when I am in that space and I paint from that space, the art, the vibrational value of the piece is becomes very healing. I have like, I'm going to sound a little strange right now, and I absolutely realize that. I have a person who messaged me. He got the painting at one of the shows, purchased a painting with women as flowers. It was also came from Alice when she was in India. She said, "Mom, people are like flowers. Everyone is beautiful, everyone is unique." And so I painted it. And then I got a message where he said that my blood pressure got better.
Oh,
It was like, oh, wow. And it's not that the pain, it's just the idea, the context behind puts us into a better connection to the world, into oneness. And in that space, the healing happens.
yeah,
Because we get sick when we are very separated, when we perceive life, this is right, this is wrong, the duality, intense duality that separates people. So we get all sorts of, we don't perceive ourselves as a whole, and we disconnect ourselves from nature. So, and that's, I mean, that's a huge issue. I know that topic is very precious to you as well. So I think
we are part of nature, you know. I mean, I'm teaching one of my courses, actually, I'm teaching in college, it magic, alchemy, and astrology in art. And often I talk to my student, you know, I'm not a superstitious person, but I believed in forces, the forces of nature, right? Which is, this is has sometimes has high value, sometimes low value, a certain time of day or certain time of month. And so I believed in those forces. I believed nature has a spirits, and that the spirits can, which is come from within you. And I always tell my student, write it down, do your work with your hand, because this spirit, this, you are part of that nature, and that the spirit goes within you when you do action, and that kind of you activate it. The same thing African used to do. You know, every art they made, they never call it art. It was part of their lifestyle. And when they want to capture their spirits, they would start dancing, right? They would wear it and start dancing and put it in motion. The same thing with art. When you believe on that, I think, believe on forces of nature. Now we are sound like a Star Wars movies, but
but that's I
but
leave.
it's true, right?
Okay, I'm old enough to stand by my experiences, because it's not just, oh, this is, it's life. It's
Yeah,
feeling we are
exactly.
disconnected is just I think ignorance. We feel that we can hide a lot of stuff, but we can't, right? When
Yeah,
the
exactly.
person enters the room, you feel that the person is friendly, unfriendly, separated,
Yeah,
warm, cold. So how come?
exactly. I mean, even when you enter, you see, like, you know, there is a connection, this attraction. One of the things, actually, I was checking your Instagram. If you don't mind, I want to play this video. She has wonderful artwork, a lot of things with the sound, as you mentioned in your Instagram. But I found this one, which is, you said you sand it down. I mean, it makes me really think about this sandy Dan, and then, oh, it's too tiny. I don't know how to make it bigger. I played yesterday, but sometimes this is a video, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's so what do you mean by this sounded down? I mean, if I can't play it here, but let me just go back and come and maybe able to. Um, hmm.
It was about, I was in Bali, and I was sitting on a sand, and the whole thing was, I started the sketch in the room, and then I was there and I was mixing different things, and it just made me feel how things appear and disappear, and how this material that's like, when you're on the beach, you are surrounded by that, how it makes the image come through, disappear. And it was just the moment itself. It was so intense. So these two people came about.
Yeah. I mean,
So
unfortunately, I don't, for some reason, I can't play it right now. But so the painting was wet still, and you put it inside the sand and cover it, so it just create a kind of texture at the same time you made this connection.
yes, it was so intense. Like the thoughts were you know, like we talk about sometimes, right? Not sometimes, everyone experiences death and birth
Yes.
and transformation, and every moment is different. And but we're not aware because we're on autopilot, and it's sometimes too much, because if you for real feel the moment as it, like right now we are dying, I am dying right now, right, as Elena, who has not spoken to Farrin, but I am born as Elena, who has spoken to Farrin. And that moment, it's just such an intense transformation. So that sand who started as rocks, and then it's just like all this. So it was the moment of
Yeah.
aha moment in a way. So it was,
Yeah, the moment of connection, kind of. I mean,
yeah.
such a artwork like this. What medium are your work, or what medium you work with?
So I do I can do oils, and I love them because they are very forgiving. Like you can correct
Yeah.
things. Uh, but in reality, I love to travel. So I really want things to dry fast. Because and I do not want to carry a canvas with me, because
Yes.
so I have a lot of works on paper. I have a lot of acrylics. My dream is to create a traveling show to awaken the spirit with art, almost like art festivals from city to city, where people not only come to experience people's, like artists' art, and meet the artists, but they also come to experience themselves,
Yeah.
um, who they are. So that's why I'm trying to make it doable, because once I go into, you know, stretching and all these things, you can't, like, it becomes so expensive, and I need to manifest a lot of money to be able to do it. But
Yeah.
with this paper stuff and thin boards,
Yeah.
I can do.
And I mean, I see your work are the main subject are, I think, mostly human. You know, you do a lot of figures and human in your work. Why this is interests you, this, like, subject of human?
Because it's the form that has a possibility of being fully realized source. Our DNA is a limiting factor, of course, because it's kind of predictable, but it's only like the fox cannot decide to be a bear. It's
Yeah.
got to be the fox. It's got to be the best fox ever. And many things are predetermined, the color, what they eat, etc. Same with all other elements of nature. We live in the world that these other things, they cannot really transform themselves.
Mhm.
But the amount of the scale of transformation in human beings is insane. Like, it's huge.
Yeah.
You can be absolutely ignorant, no clue, and you can go and live a movie of a very simple ideas, or you can have these grand avataric missions that you can be living using, again, this human body and being able to communicate with unseen.
Yeah.
uh, and that's why it fascinates me. I I also feel throughout our life, it's not just the moments of rebirth constant, but I myself can look back. Well, tell me if you have the same thing. It's just like, okay, that was, I mean, movie number one. That is movie number two. That's number three. That's number four. So it's amazing how many different lives we can live within one life.
So are you write poem, Elena? You also sound poetic. I'm just thinking a poem is within you. Are you? Have you tried to write?
Sometimes I do the descriptions of paintings in a poetry form. No, but I do have a book that is Art Completes, and it's a mirror. So
Yeah, let me actually stop share. I mean, if I can share, for some reason my computer doesn't is not so fast. But one of my questions, because I saw in your website you said art completes you. So this is an artistic book. What type of book is art completes you, and what it teaches us?
it's like a method. It's a method to explore the creative spirit.
Okay.
So it's not Elena's philosophy. I mean, it is my philosophy because I live it.
Okay.
But it has the combination of different practices that I discovered while traveling through India that opened up immense creative flow, but not only that, with the responsibility for it.
Okay.
So and it's like it's ever evolving. So it's structured like it has an idea, and at the end of the chapter, the exercises to discover that idea for you, like what it is for you. In the middle, there are my thoughts on that, because I am not big enough of a art guru to say like, okay, do that. So I had to add whatever I'm thinking.
Okay.
But in reality, you can skip my words and use the thought and the exercises just to discover who you are.
Would you show me again, since I stopped sharing, I want to say it a little bit bigger. Art,
I think it will
art
still, it's a
complete.
mirror image.
Wow. Okay.
It's Art Completes. It started with Art Completes You illustrated, and I had it with it was white at the time, and I had it with my students' illustrations, because almost everyone who was doing it, they started painting, like they really started painting. So, but then I changed it to more like neutral and be specific on exercises, on how to develop your individual vision, your craftsman, like that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
so it became Art Completes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I mean, I see. I have few of your art today here as you as you speak. It's not like but so such a this one, which is watercolor. How you come with the idea of like a painting like this, for example?
Well, that's awesome. Again, an awesome choice of a painting, because this one will be an example when I start with the line. And that is one of the first exercises in the book, too. So it's the idea that you have to allow that energy to go through you. So you become like an outstanding pencil. Your job is to make sure you are listening. And so when the energy comes through, you are still present, because it has to go through you. So it expresses some of your things, thoughts, what stage of life you are in. But it's very easy, it's very fast, it's very flowy. In this type of work, I never ever want to touch again. That's what I noticed. When they come through, they come through. And if my space was right, they just come through as a whole.
Yes.
It's nothing like, okay, this is, the hand is not right. It never like that. And if I
Not so many artists are like you, because like I gave example myself. I start with an idea, at the end it changed something else. So it's different, right? So different experience.
if you like, that idea is yours, you came up with it. With this practice, the line practice, I think, is the key for anything. If you get into that space of communicating with the energy force, that whatever you call it, source around us, it's a very relaxed space, and that source will express your idea at a, I mean, it's a higher level of what, it's like an upgrade to everything, including the skill.
Yes.
But you just have to be very patient, because the patterns, our mind is a like whole bunch of different programs, and they are activated by many different things, and it's easiest ways to increase the gap between the thoughts.
Okay.
That in that gap, that energy can still express you, and it's so light, so easy. There's no struggle. But that gap has to be, it's too many thoughts.
Mhm.
The gap is tiny, so there will be a lot of second guessing. This is not right. Oh, but this one is better. And it will be a different work. I have those too. If I'm super attached to an idea, I'm going to
Yeah.
work
And,
14,
are you
14 years on the piece. That's what I have.
are you meditate before you work? Since I know you have all this healing idea within your work, do you meditate before you start
Uh,
painting?
yes, like these two would be perfect examples, but I do the morning practices,
Okay.
which do include gratitude and yoga, and I need to do more yoga. Um, when I am in that reverence, like this musician is the sound of the universe.
Mhm.
It was with Gayatri mantra, and the whole thing came less than 2 hours. It was just, psh, and I can never touch it because there's nothing I want to touch in that piece. So if I am in the right space, they come so easily to me. But if I want to express, let's say, some personal moment with my mom passing, or with my family when I went through divorce, and I really still love and loved everything in my married life, that painting took a lot out of me, because the healing was happening with the concept that, okay, so it's a different stage. To enjoy it, I have to I have to expand my consciousness. So it will be a lot of changing, and
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah, and I noticed, like, one of the major subject of your work are based on your travel to India, and you said you spend a huge amount of time in temples, and so how did travel and spending time in India in particular, which is the land of thousand culture and religion, how it changed you, how it changed your work, how it inspired you?
Mm. I want to tell you a story. So we remember, I grew up in the communist Russia, came here in 95. We were just me and my husband, we were experimenting. It was like, oh, Russia is open, we can travel. He's super smart. We had a business, so we came. But when I came to India the first time, I was in one of the ashrams, and the music was on, and people started dancing, and I was standing there, and it's like dancing like that, like
Mhm.
humble, how you
Yeah, yeah, just
supposed to.
moving yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, like, so, and making sure that I look right, and I look proper, and all of this nonsense. Right now, I was at the party the other day. It was the ugly sweater party. The first time in my life I went to that kind of party in an ugly sweater. I don't drink, ever, ever. I danced like there is no tomorrow. I was so happy. I was happy to be with human beings dancing with all this funny energy. That from that girl who is trying to be and do the right thing and be the right thing, to that girl who knows that I am doing the right thing and I am being the right thing. I owe it to India.
Okay. And that's how it inspired you, right? Your
It changed
lifestyle
the
changed.
whole thing. The whole
Not-
thing.
yeah, not only art, your lifestyle, your thinking, it changed. Yeah, I mean, India actually has two-sided, and it can change you for someone better or worse. I mean, it's just you can get a lot of things from traveling to India. I've been, but many, many years, like when I was 18, 19 years old. So, and yeah, no, that's the country of colors. And
Exactly. Country of colors. And I grew up, we had their rules. I actually told my daughter in high school, she went to High School of Fashion Industries. And so there, so clearly girls are very free with, with color. And I told them the rules we had. You cannot combine green and pink. You are not supposed to wear green and red, uh, whatever the brown was, I forgot. So the amount of things that were put in our head when we were growing up, this pattern upon pattern upon pattern, how important it is to be smart, how you cannot be silly, you have to be educated, because otherwise all of that, and it all dropped because India, I mean, the flower is in fact green and with all sorts of colors, and it's gorgeous, and the land is brown. And who says what we are supposed to, like, who comes up with these rules? Oh, right, the people who sell these things. So it was very liberating.
yeah, that rule and regulation sometimes are just too much. I mean, I believed in following the rule, but just sometimes it become too much. And it's good to sometimes break those rules and those boundaries, right? And feel free. So that I think that being feel free made most of the changes within you. And
Yeah.
which is I see it in your artwork. I wish we had more time to I would go, and I'm sure you can talk about all these things.
Talk forever. I am a teacher.
Yeah, I
So
know.
you
Same
give
thing.
me a chance.
So I mean, we didn't get a chance to go through all your artwork, but I think as you talk, it represents your work too. So do you have, I know our time is end, do you have any, like any message, any advice for our fellow artists and art lover?
Oh, yeah. I think we need to connect with each other more. I think we need to learn about each other all the time, because we need to figure out what exactly we want. Decide on that, understand that it might change next year. It's okay. But commit to that what we decided, with whether it is relationships or careers or being with National Association of Women Artists, volunteering, creating shows like Farrin is doing. It's such an amazing, amazing contribution to us, to
Yeah,
us women, and we have to support us. I'm not necessarily a traditional feminist person, but the women were so misrepresented and so abused and still abused around the world. So when we have to be together and change this world together, and
exactly.
it's that's
Because we are the creation, right? We create, we give
yes.
life. And I want to finish actually this conversation with few points within your work, which I wrote it down. As I said, you have to write your poem down. And you sound so poetic, like when you're talking about this media of forgiving, like when you're talking about oil, or the intellectual human mind, or the art of flow, or being the right. So these are my keyword from our discussion, which is so poetic, and I really enjoy them. So thank you very much. The art of healing, and you're talking also a kind of healing and relaxing, and we see the peace as well as within your artwork. Elena also has a beautiful website. We were so engaged that I forgot even to display your website. And so if anyone want to learn more about Elena and her work and her artwork, they can visit her website and check her artwork and check about Elena and book and everything. So you can find it here, I guess. Elena, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Again, Happy New Year, and I wish you all the best in this new year and new work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.